Blackpink, the Grammys, and the unwritten rules of recognition. The city of Toronto pulsed with anticipation. As the lights dimmed and the first beat of Jump reverberated through the air, the crowd erupted, not just with excitement but with awe. Blackpink, the K-pop juggernaut that had once taken a temporary hiatus, was back on stage in full force, igniting their global tour deadline. With a show that was more than just a performance, it was a declaration. A declaration that the world hadn't seen the last of them. A declaration that they weren't just idols. They were icons rewriting the rules of international stardom. Their new single, Jump, released just days before the tour, had already climbed into the upper ranks of global charts, proving that even after 2 years away, Blackpink hadn't lost their edge. If anything, they had returned sharper, bolder, and more determined than ever. The world was watching. The industry was buzzing. Fans were rejoicing. And then came the news that hit like a discordant note in a symphony. According to the respected music industry outlet Hits Daily Double, none of the Blackpink members, Jisoo, Jennie, Rose, or Lisa, may be eligible for a nomination in the Best New Artist category at the upcoming 68th Grammy Awards. The reason? A long-standing rule by the Recording Academy that deems artists ineligible if they have previously gained wide recognition as part of a group. It was a bureaucratic technicality, but to millions it felt like something else entirely. Social media lit up. The same platforms that had celebrated Blackpink's comeback were now rife with criticism. Fans, journalists, even some industry insiders began to question the very framework of the Grammys' eligibility standards. How could solo artists, launching independent careers with entirely new sounds, visions, and artistry, be denied recognition under the guise of being not new? And more importantly, who decides what new truly means? In the ever-evolving landscape of modern music, where artists toggle between solo and group projects, collaborate across continents, and redefine genres with every release, the line between established and emergent has never been blurrier. The idea that a solo debut, crafted with personal vision and individuality, can't be considered new, simply because the artist was once in a group feels out of sync with the times. If being part of a group disqualifies them, how can Asian artists ever break through the solo category on equal footing? One frustrated fan wrote on X, formerly Twitter. The rules were made for an industry that doesn't exist anymore. The firestorm of criticism wasn't limited to Blackpink's devoted blinks. It stirred up long-simmering frustrations within the broader music community, reigniting debates that had surrounded previous Grammy controversies. The most glaring comparison? BTS. For years, BTS broke record after record, dominated international charts, and filled stadiums across continents, only to be repeatedly overlooked or placed in categories that felt more like consolation prizes than proper recognition. Despite their cultural impact and commercial dominance, the Grammys never fully embraced them in the major categories. And who could forget The Weeknd's shocking snub in 2021? His album After Hours was a critical and commercial juggernaut, yet he received 0 nominations. The backlash was so severe, The Weeknd vowed to boycott the Grammys entirely. Now Blackpink found themselves in similar territory, not because they weren't good enough, but because an outdated rulebook couldn't accommodate their trajectory. Fans quickly pointed out the inconsistency in the Academy's logic. Sabrina Carpenter, who began her career as a Disney star in her teens, was reportedly under consideration for Best New Artist. So how then does a former Disney actress with years of prior recognition qualify, while for solo artists launching new chapters of their careers do not? It's not just about fairness, it's about perception. The perception that Western artists are granted more flexibility in defining their artistry. The perception that the system favors familiarity when it's wrapped in the Western package. That new doesn't mean first, but first to fit our mold. These aren't just fan theories. They're part of a growing discourse among music critics and cultural analysts. In a recent op-ed, one industry expert asked, "Is the Recording Academy inadvertently gatekeeping the global music scene? And if so, how long can it maintain its grip on relevance?" After all, the music world has expanded far beyond the borders of the US. The global charts are no longer led exclusively by American pop stars. From Latin America to East Asia, from Afrobeats to K-pop, artists from all corners of the world are commanding attention and redefining what global success looks like. In this new landscape, the Grammys appear increasingly like an old castle refusing to open its gates. A system that clings to its traditions while the world outside evolves at light speed. But let's be clear. Blackpink doesn't need a Grammy nod to validate their artistry. Their impact is already etched into music history. From headlining Coachella to making history at the Met Gala. From solo brand deals with global fashion houses to dominating YouTube with billions of views, the quartet has transcended the boundaries of a conventional girl group. And yet, the disappointment lingers. Not because they weren't recognized, but because the criteria for recognition seem so arbitrarily stacked against them. One could argue that the Grammys, once the pinnacle of artistic acknowledgement, are in danger of becoming irrelevant, not because they lack prestige, but because they lack adaptability. Their reluctance to evolve mirrors an institution more concerned with tradition than truth. Truth, in this case, being that newness is not a timestamp. It's a reinvention. It's a creative rebirth. It's stepping into the spotlight under a different light and saying, "This is who I am now." Jisoo, Jennie, Rose, and Lisa have each done exactly that. Their solo projects weren't extensions of Blackpink. They were departures. Individual voices, styles, genres. From Jennie's edgy, genre-blending confidence to Rose's ethereal vulnerability. From Lisa's unapologetic rap flow to Jisoo's introspective elegance. Each artist brought something distinct to the table. If that doesn't constitute a new artist in spirit, then perhaps the category itself needs redefining. So where does this leave us? Perhaps it's time for artists and fans to stop chasing the approval of an institution that refuses to see beyond its narrow definitions. Perhaps the next wave of music history won't be written on Grammy ballots but on the stages of Lollapalooza, the charts of Spotify, the buzz of TikTok, and the hearts of millions who don't need a golden gramophone to tell them what greatness sounds like. Blackpink is not waiting for permission to succeed. They never have. And maybe that's the real revolution. They are not just challenging the music industry's gatekeepers, they are bypassing them entirely. Let the Recording Academy wrestle with its rules. Let it cling to its dusty criteria and legacy systems. Meanwhile, Blackpink is somewhere on stage, bathed in pink light, singing to a sold-out arena, rewriting what success looks like. No trophy necessary.